Hey, what's up everybody? I'm going to show you guys a little bit of introduction into my build and how I'm playing my my blademaster. So right now, the whole premise, and I am by no means, I'm more of a blade novice, uh, according to someone on my stream, not a master yet at this. So I could have this completely butchered as to what would be cookie cutter max DPS, but this is just how I have it. So I'll jump right into the soldier tree, and then Nightblade. So the aspect I took on with soldier as half of my build is I want it to just kind of buff me. I don't want it to be like attacks coming out of this build. I want to really rock my whole proc effect is when I'm in combat, a whole bunch of auras are proccing, a whole bunch of things are proccing, and then stat build behind it. So this starts off with Fighting Spirit. I have 8 out of 16 points in Fighting Spirit, has a 25% chance of activating, and that's going to increase my total damage, my crit, my offensive ability. So that's just overall good for my class in itself. Military Conditioning. This is obviously going to give me more health and more physique, allowing me to be a little bit more tanky. Field Command. Field Command. It energy reserves a little bit, but what it does is it's a 12-meter radius, and it gives me more offensive ability, more defensive ability, increased armor, and that's just not for me, that's for my allies as well. The next thing would be Decorated Soldier. I'm a physical damage dealer. This gives me tons of physical damage. It also gives me resistances to slow and resistances to elemental. How can you not like that? And then last in the soldier tree so far is Warcry. We all know Warcry, and I do have 3 points into Terrify, which I'm kind of on the edge on because it disperses a bunch of guys everywhere. Don't really like them all running away from me, but it does help when you're getting overwhelmed, and then you can just get away from me, and then they're all gone. So I got 12 points into Warcry, which reduces the enemy's health and reduces the target's damage for 5 seconds. So if I'm soloing a boss one-on-one, I know they don't like the aggro, but screw it, they're already attacking me, and they're going to lose some health, and they're going to reduce some damage. So once again, the soldier aspect of this is to help me with procs, help me activate my Warcry, activate my Fighting Spirit, and then have some stability as far as defensive and offensive ability with some resistances. Now attacking. I'm all about that auto attack, all about using the Burnas Fury with my left click, which is a component, and so I just pretty much use that, and then all my auto attacks proc. So as you can see, I have my dual blades maxed. I got Belgothian's shears, 6 out of 8, and the reason why I don't put any more points into these is because 20% is really as high as it'll go, and I can use points in other places. As fast as and as long as mobs stay alive, the extra damage and the extra points are almost useless. So I just keep minimum points into these for the 20% activation, and all of these are giving me the chance in my eyes to, when I auto attack, one of those auto attacks is becoming a special ability. So I'll rarely just like swing and nothing happens. Every time I'm swinging, something's happening. So that's the idea here. So I have Belgothian Shears, I have my Emerastaz Quick Cut, I'm like butchering these names, Whirling Death, that's an easy one, and Execution, that's an easy one. So these are all proccing, and my Execution does cold damage, reduces enemies' health. My Whirling Death adds a bleed, which I love bleed, and pierce damage, and it's everyone around me, 6 targets. And then this is Emerastaz Quick Cut. This just does a quick cut. Lots of pierce damage. And then my Belgothian Shears, which gives pierce damage and stun. Now I don't have anything here in the middle. I'm just really not interested in any of this stuff right now. My next one is Shadow Strike. Now I'm using Shadow Strike to jump in, close the gap on stuff, but also as a defensive offense, I need to get away from some things. If I'm stuck too deep and I'm balls deep and shit and I need to get out, I'll use Shadow Strike. Now, I do have a lot of cold damage and stuff, so it hits pretty hard, but it's not maxed. I believe I just have 1 point in it. I just have tons of stats towards Shadow Strike. Phonetic Burst, or Fumatic Burst, amazing. It's the heal. Gotta have this. I'm 13 out of 12 with it. And then this is the cooldown reduction. I have 13 out of 12 into Shadow Dance because avoiding projectiles, more defensive rating, and preventing melee attacks is amazing. So that kind of goes in with an item I have that prevents so much stuff. It's amazing. This is kind of a must, Veil of Shadows. This right here makes it to where the enemies slow down and they don't hit as hard. And then this makes them more less resistant to my stuff, so they become weaker even more. Blade Barrier is an oh shit button. I use it probably never, but it's there because who knows? I'm still progressing through Elite and into Ultimate, so I know it's coming. My buddy told me to put a point into Blade Trap, and then I put an extra point into Devouring Blades, which gives it some bleed. This makes it to where the enemy takes more damage, they lose a defensive ability. So I'm going to crit the bosses harder. I use this randomly on mobs, but mainly for bosses. Can't go wrong with Anatomy of Murder. This is really good for bleed, more damage to humans, and Grim Dawn is full of humans. Of course, 27% to Cunning. Cunning's a really good stat for me. And then the last one is Phantasmal Armor. Now, I know I jumped through that all pretty fast, but it's pretty easy. It's not, too hard to grasp, and you can go in. I have a link on my Twitch to this build specifically, and you can go in and look at the individual things and kind of see what they do and play around. I'm just kind of doing a fast overview here of how this build works, because I want to show you my gear too. Devotion. How I'm rocking my Devotion right now, I'm headed over and trying to work towards Living Shadow, and the way I set this up is I went with Order and Ascendant. So Ascendant and Order. Right now I got 19 points into Ascendant, 10 points into Order. So the first thing I did was I went for the Lion. I like the extra health, defensive ability, some Spirit, need that for some gear, the health, and then the total damage. So I get a completion bonus of 3 for Order for that. Next thing is Falcon Punch. It's called Falcon Swoop, but Falcon Punch. That's the way I look at it. This right here gives me some physical, some bleed damage, some cunning, some more physical, and then it pretty much punches you in the face with falcons, 15% chance on attack, and adds some bleed damage, which is really cool. And then under that, that gives me a completion bonus of 3 into Eldritch, and then I believe 3 into Ascendant, because you need certain points into these in order to unlock other ones. Like Living Shadow, I needed how many? Let me see here, 15. So I had to do some of these before I could unlock that. Then I have the Hammer. The Hammer is good for physical damage, trauma, and more physical and trauma, and it gives me that completion bonus, which is nice. Assassin's Mark, amazing. This just like shits on any boss, and you're just fighting them in that physical and pierce resistance. He's just gonna melt. So it gives me some offensive ability, some pierce and bleeding, more bleeding, and then the actual Assassin's Mark itself. Now, if you look right here, it says current level. I have it 20 out of 20. As you progress and get these skills in Devotion, which is so cool, you level them up, so they get stronger and they do more stuff. Next, I have Blades of Wrath. Incredible. Can't play without this as far as being a Nightblade, in my opinion. This is going to start off giving me some pierce, some cunning, some offensive ability. Oh, wait, I need to do a completion bonus with that. Dang, I'm a scrub. 30 damage to humans, 5% cunning, 20 pierce, and then Blades of Wrath itself. Next, I have into Swords. 2% chance to avoid both melee and projectiles. 25% pierce damage, 5% attack speed, pierce, offensive, and increase armor piercing by 100%. So that's just like brutal towards everything else I'm doing. Now, by choice, I chose Tip of the Scales. I like it. 177% of attack damage converted to health. That's amazing. So tip of the scales is kind of like a tanky thing. It adds to survivability, which is what I like as a blade master. So some health and energy, more health regen, and increased total health regen, more health, energy regen, more damage, and then tip the scales itself, with which energy leeches, does vitality damage, and then gives me pretty much lifesteal for a bit. Now, what I'm working towards is Living Shadow. Living Shadow is some pierce, bleed, attack speed, pierce and bleed, offensive, crit and pierce damage, and then it makes a manifestation of a nameless hero rise to fight alongside you, which scales with player damage bonuses. So it's a copy of you for 10 seconds, and it has a 6-second recharge, so it can be up all the time. Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm working towards. So there's a little shout out to my devotion, my skills, my sets and gear that I'm using right now. I'm just going to run through this a little bit here, and I'll have a more in-depth video. Right now I'm trying to do a little something else put together, but this kind of gives you guys an idea of what I'm doing, what I'm rocking. Got the Deathmark set, 5-piece. I'm using the 2-set piece bonus right now, trying to get the amulet so I can have the 3-set bonus so I can get 1 to all skills. But it's a jewel, the Royal Crown set. So I have the seal and I have the jewel right now. I still have a really shitty metal. I'm working on that. It's just, standard little bleed, some health, some cunning. I am using Change of Anguish. This thing, what I have found is the debuff doesn't really harm me. Like, if it's up and I really am getting hit hard, okay, screw it. I'll pop Blade Barrier, and my Blade Barrier will outlast the debuff of Chains of Anguish. So, not too worried about that. But look at that. 54% total damage, 9% of attack damage converted to health. OP! And Juggernaut. Some people would say, why are you using Juggernaut? You could be using Zeal, you could be using Nemesis, you could be using Slaughter. Juggernaut is the shit. Sit down, people. You don't know what you're talking about. This is the shit. Like, it's up all the time, pretty much. Unstoppable. 100% chance when hit by a critical strike. You are like an unstoppable motherfucker. Shaking off blows that would fell lesser mortals. Has a 3-second skill recharge, 6-second duration. So like I said, it has the potential to be up all the time. It's great. Gives me even physical damage. +1 to all soldier skills, too. I mean, I don't have as many soldier skills as I do Nightblade, but oh well. Now my boots. I do have some epic gloves, which just give me some avoidance, a little bit to Amarasta's quick cut, some pierce, cold damage and stuff. Still working on upgrading those. My boots are awesome. Golem Greaves. Gives me some health, movement speed, a little bit of resistances and stuff. I don't benefit from the skill gains. I don't have Mariners, Bulwark, or Flame Touched. But Golem 25% chance when hit. So it has a 15-second downtime, 15-second uptime, and it's kind of just always up and off, up and off. But it gives me tons of armor, internal trauma retaliation, which is awesome, and 30% reduced attack speed retaliation too. So that's really cool. I like the armor on that, and I also like the stone rocks that are like floating around me, which is pretty neat. So a little bit about my details in here. I'll just show you. When I'm rocking my regen, I'm up to 221.08 per second. My physical modifier, 273. My pierce is 596. My bleed is 439. My trauma is 184. And my cold is sitting at about 505 right now. And I'm working my way through Elite. Almost have it done. I got a little bit more to go. And then I'm at the final, and then I'll be getting into Ultimate. Now, this is just a quick run through because people are asking me, what are you doing, what's up with your build and stuff like that. I will have a way more in-depth, really cool, customized, link clicking, a whole bunch of shit, but I'm just starting to recording videos and stuff like that. I'm a noob, and I'm still figuring out all this editing stuff and throwing in music and throwing in an intro. So right now you guys got the Scrubville of the introduction to me. And but it's getting better, I promise. So thank you guys for watching. This is my Blade Master, also known as the Blade Novice. Brought to you by Xavier Gaming. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter and you guys want to follow me on the stream, there's a link down below that you guys can click and make that happen. Thanks. Have a good day.